study about different viruses, what could happen, and how we can overcome those when it happened. But unfortunately, it went out of control. We don't know. So anyway, now what happened has happened, and it shows that why we need truly compassion in our life more than ever now. As times gets more decadent, times get much darker, we need heart. Without that, we cannot really, it'll be very hard to survive without heart. That's, I think, clearly we can all agree on that. In the prophecies of Padmasambhava, Padmasambhava's teaching, it did explain about the decadency of the time, what we are going through, with speed, the definition of dark age means speed, immense speed. And today we know we have immense speed in technology, and that, since it's interdependent, the technology, the emotion, everything kind of like comes together in a speed. And so at the same time, when we saw how the virus spread, just like one country has it, then everywhere, all over the world, with the speed of the travel. And so everything happening in a speed. And so this is what Padmasambhava's prophecy, that this kind of sickness and wars and famine which can happen in the future, fundamentally is we cause that, we human beings cause that. Due to greed, ignorance, without saying, whether it's greed to conquer other country, or whether it's a greed to as a company for profit, whatever is definitely based on ignorance and greed. And so therefore, to make the whole thing simple and short, I think why we need Dharma, compassion and wisdom today more than ever, in our own private life, as an individual, as a family, as a community, as a country, why we need more than ever. Our speed, I think one of the things, the speed is so fast, you don't have time to reflect. I think that's another problem. You don't have time to sit down and look at what's going on, but rather you are just one with the speed. There's no separation between the speed and you. There's no gap. It's just like the speed becomes you, you become the speed. So everything, there's no time to introspect, there's no time to rest. And I think definitely from that point of view, you can understand that why it's so important to meditation is so important to sit down and like creates a gap between, so to speak, between here and there. It creates a space that you can just reflect and see what's going on. We don't have time to see what's going on. We're just with the force of technology, a force of emotion, as I said, is interdependent. They all comes together. Outside, inside, all comes together. It's like one, like a mashed potato, everything just like mashed up in one thing. So no time to rest, no time to look. And then when there's no time to look, what happens? Our sense of ego, sense of the self-centeredness, ego, which we already have problem before, is nothing new. Having an ego is not a new problem. We already have an ego, which has been going on, that we are working all the time, how to bring ego within our control, or how we can subdue our negativities, because ego represent ignorant, and ego represent all the source of our disturbed emotion comes from the ego. All disturbed emotion, all afflictions comes from the ego. So since the ego is the source of all the affliction, then ego going with the speed, very high speed, is a disaster. You know, if ego goes with some kind of break, once in a while it gets a break, then at least it's a sane ego. This is an insane ego. Ego with like no break. Because the continuum of the awareness, continuum of the mind, it's all become that force. All become that force where there's no gap. And then we go through tremendous, as the nature of the ego is such, because it brings with it its companion, its partner, or its surrounding is all afflictions. And as a result, today we see suicide, we see depression, because there is so high speed and there is so much, people take the ultimate, when there's no choice left, a lot of suicide. For example, in Nepal, I heard there was last year, during the pandemic, there were like about 6,000 suicide. And I don't know how many in America. We don't know every family's life situation, or some level of depression, some level of hardship, definitely without saying, people went through. Because we didn't know how to handle our mind or how to work with our mind. So therefore now, without saying, we can all realize that why the Dharma, why bodhicitta, why meditation is so important in our life, for us to live a sane life, for us to live a life of sanity from insanity. So tonight, first of all, as I said, I'm so happy seeing all of you, really. I was praying, for the world to get healed, and particularly our Sangha, people in Denver. This is who we are. We are part of our community, Denver community, Boulder included. Boulder is not excluded. So I want to, tonight I'd like to, first we will do a supplication and read a Heart Sutra. Then I'd like to explain Dharma teaching. And then we will do a meditation. So first of all, please join with me. Let's do a supplication to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Buddhas means those who have transcended the ego and ignorance. awakened mind. That's called Buddha. Buddha is Sanskrit word. Buddha means wisdom, knowledge. Buddha. Bodhisattvas, how to get to the Buddha state is through compassion and wisdom. That's the only way how you can get to that wisdom, to be Buddha. Through compassion. Is said the mother of enlightenment is compassion. So Bodhisattvas, in order to become Buddha, you have to practice, you have to become a Bodhisattva, meaning you have to become a compassionate one. And what that really means, step out of your ego's world. If you have to find wisdom and liberation, you need to step out of your ego's world. The stepping out of the ego's world is called Bodhisattvas. Once you step out of your ego's world, then step by step by step, you get closer to freedom, liberation. And when you get to complete freedom and liberation, that is called awakened mind. In Sanskrit, that's called Buddha. Buddha means awakened mind, which is the seed we all have within our mind. Every sentient being, as long as there's a consciousness, there's awareness, we all have the seed to be free. We are not like trapped forever, eternity, condemned to a trapped ego mind, but we have the awakened mind within us. And so that's what one is to discover and awaken into that. That's it. And that's where the freedom is. Freedom is not in the ego. Freedom is not in that kind of mindset of duality. So what happened to us? If we have the seed of basic goodness within us, then we may say, what happened to us? We have been thinking with speed now, we can say, level of continuity of our mindset in dualistic, confused mind. We have never put a break on that. We have been going with that all the time. It's like a crazy mentality, like going with it. So therefore we miss the awareness of liberation and awareness of awakening, awareness of all aspects of basic goodness we miss in our life. It's right there. It's right there. And that's what I like to tonight, I want to talk after we do a supplication, and then let's do a Heart Sutra. Then after that, I will explain, and then we can do this sitting meditation practice. Okay? So please join with me. So when you do this prayer, Tonglen practice, for example, taking and sending, taking others' pain, sending our healing to others, how to step out of ego's world, that is, how to transform ourselves and see our home, our basic goodness. So when you do any practice, it's based on that. You may think, oh, there is Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in different forms, but actuality, you need to transform your mind. When you transform your mind to that, all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas right there in your heart. Because you are a Buddha. You are in essence Buddha. You are in essence Bodhisattva. So that's what it is. So when we do supplication, those who have been enlightened before us, so we seek their blessings. And then seeking blessing is one thing, but transforming yourself is another thing. And how you transform yourself? By understanding your basic goodness. So it's very important to hear Dharma. If you don't hear it, who you are, your basic goodness, how your ego function, how you're going to step out of the ego, what is the nature of ego, those things you need to look. Only you can do that. No one can do it for you. Like we need to eat food by ourselves, same thing, we need to understand about the mind by ourselves. No one can do it for you about your mind. Somebody, you can sense, okay, I will pay you. Can you go and listen to their talk? And then, that's not going to work. You need to hear it yourself, and you need to reflect on yourself like that. So let's do a prayer. Om Nasi Nam Taraji No Dupe, Taji Chuji No Jupayi, Sangi Judangidu. Kuna Jasa Daja Tashi Shu, the Major Positin to Dogo, Chepayim Begatop. Kuna Gumba Jeta Baje, Lumbo Drabazara Bedani, Simjetum Jelop. Yisum the Bazarop Trouble Day, Tensum the Betaji Pepe, the Watership Bagala Chasalo, Jambation Cherezi Gumbo Jambepe, say in Potapa number say, Namgin Popacho Kunduzang, Ubetu Jipek. No Buddha Watini Mai, Chasalanum to Shipegacho, Jojo Sembagala Chasalo, the Jin the Jotuj. The Jumbuza Yung Kamala, Niera Dundambuza Pepe, Minu Jesse, when you're colote, Rinjinda Joji. Chudu Javachu Jengijama, Gizongo, Timpepe, Trashila Mojalaja. Sombajumbo the Jungsemebu, Midona Danjabu Yugoso, Pajabudano. Namdes is a Hazakoloda, Tishula Hundo Jazin, P1 Chute. Sosumnazo Galeg to Shipe, Jideko Gala, Chasalo, Dajatin Terchawazo. Get on your Sewa Kunjini, the Dempepe, some to Asian troop, Tashi Dili Pusumso. Dajatin Terchawazumbala, get on your Sewa Kunji. The Dempepe, some to Asian troop, Tashi Dili Pusumso, Dajatin Terchawa. Get on your Warsawa Kunjini, the Dempepe, some to Asian troop, Tashi Dili Pusumso, Parishu. Jumnende Paro Gumbo, Chisin Jambayana, Chasalo, Kangilu to Timidin, Yidan Tarasabaching Itoji. You get to go Lemazak, and also the best or more, Mundum Dongo Jezebet, Zoko Puji to the United Ching and the Su to the Chatu. Legacy to the Marimus to Green, which in each other, and the necessary or the internet. Chudan Junior, the Talamus, Jampariana, the Umar of the Nodium, Umar of the Nodium, Umar of the Nodium. Umarapasanati, 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 Kurum the Deshaji. Ubetana, share of retinum, Lepazimage Mechigo, Composer Bayano Chazatu, Concertable. Jose Tibardona, Gumbojameti, came a Parianton war show. So let's today please read the Heart Sutra. Let's read this together. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha at Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of the Sangha of monks and a great gathering of the Sangha of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi that expressed the Dharma called profound illumination. And at the same time, Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, while practicing the profound Bhajna Paramita, saw in this way. He saw the five skandha to be empty of nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice the profound Bhajna Paramita? Addressed in this way, Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to Venerable Shariputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound Bhajna Paramita should see in this way, seeing the five skandha to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness, emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. There are no characteristic, there is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dharmas, no I dhatu up to no mind dhatu, no dhatu of dharmas, no mind consciousness dhatu, no ignorance, no end of ignorance up to no old age and death, no end of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since the Bodhisattva have no attainment, they abide by means of Bhajna Paramita. Since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear. They transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas of the three times, by means of Bhajna Paramita, fully awaken to the unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra of Bhajna Paramita, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequal mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as truth. Since there is no deception, the Bhajna Paramita mantra is said in this way. Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhe Soha Taya Tha Om Gate Gate Para Sam Buddhe Soha Taya Tha Om Gate Gate Para Sam Gate Buddhe Soha. Thus, Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, should train in the profound Bhajna Paramita. Then the Blessed One arose from their samadhi and praised noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family. That is it, O son of noble family, thus it is. One should practice their profound Bhajna Paramita, just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One has said this, the Venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, their whole assembly in the world with its gods, human, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoice and praise the word of the Blessed One. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha, homage to the Great Mother, perfection of wisdom. May my words of truth be accomplished. Just as previously, when Kaushika, sovereign of the Devas, relied on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom, to turn back the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence, so too do I rely on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom. May the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence be turned back, annihilated, pacified, utterly pacified. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha, homage to the Great Mother, perfection of wisdom. May my words of truth be accomplished. Just as previously, when Kaushika, sovereign of the Devas, relied on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom, to turn back the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence, so too do I rely on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom. May the demon of ego and negative habits and harmful influence be turned back, annihilated, pacified, utterly pacified. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha, homage to the Great Mother, perfection of wisdom. May my words of truth be accomplished. Just as previously, when Kaushika, sovereign of the Devas, relied on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom, to turn back the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence, so too do I rely on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom. May the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence be turned back, annihilated, pacified, utterly pacified. Whatever occurs independent upon interconnected is unceasing and unborn, uninterrupted and impermanent, neither comes nor goes, neither has multiple meaning nor a single meaning. The complete pacification of elaboration, the manifestation of peace, homage to the sacred speech of the complete awakened Buddha. So when we read the Heart Sutra, this is a Mahayana teaching. But actually, whether we speak Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, it's basically talking about this awareness. It's talking about this mind. And if you read, when you read the Heart Sutra, it's basically the whole point of the Dharma. Buddha gave 84,000 teachings, generally it is said. 24,000 teaching how to subdue our attachment. 24,000 teaching how to subdue the aggression. And 24,000 teaching how to subdue ignorance. The three root poison, which is the mother of samsara. Without this, there will be no samsara. And then another 24,000 teaching collectively how to handle all the afflictions. So then when you sums it up, it's talking basically, since tonight is meditation, I'm gonna explain about mind. It's talking about this mind. So when we talk about this mind, right now we need to address ego. We need to address ignorance. And of course, we need to address the three poison, which are the source of all our suffering, coming from the three poison. Ignorance being the foundation, then attachment, and aggression. This is called the three poison. Because poison, if you eat, you can be killed. Same thing, when your mind lives with this, then you go through suffering and chaos infinitely, not just time being, infinitely. As long as you live in these three kinds of poison, as long as you will endure samsara, means cyclic existence without any break, without any exit. And from that comes rest of all afflictions. And even though generally in the teaching it says 84,000 afflictions, there's no end to afflictions, because all your thought, there's no end to your thoughts. There's no end to your emotions. And with infinite emotions, infinite thoughts brings infinite afflictions and infinite suffering. If you look into your own mind, you know, what you think, what you don't think, there's no limit. All kinds of imaginations, all kinds of fantasies, all kinds of ideas, doctrine, all like infinite. And when you really look carefully, almost all your thoughts is permeated with some level of affliction. Scary in some ways, scary to see that. But we need to see that. We cannot hide. We have hid many times. We try to deny, we try to run away, but it's coming there all the time. It's like a shadow. Wherever you go, there'll be a shadow of your body. Same thing. As long as there is affliction, the affliction comes with you. It's never gonna, you can try to push it away, but it's just there. So, any thought, either the thought is, connected with some aggression, thought is connected with some attachment, thought is connected with some jealousy, thought is connected with some envy, or some affliction. When you look carefully, there is some level of affliction. And where all this affliction coming from? Yes, we can deal, like you can particularly pick up one of your affliction. Oh, my anger, I need to work with that. But there are many other factors what brought the anger. Many other factors, So then when you really look into that, of course, we don't want to we can introspect as an individual our history. We can write our history to a certain extent, but histories are written based on certain events. But if you try to write all the events, whatever came out of your mind, you cannot write. Even the space will be too small to write. It'll be like, you will need like infinite universe to write things. Of course, that's not possible. But what we should do is try to, when we have, of course, I think that's one of the things that people do, is when, family therapy, or individual therapy, you go to your psychiatrist or psychologist, and then you try to see where things really, what happened wrong, at what point, from whose side, and what, and this and that, trying to see something. But one thing we're missing, every time we're missing something, and that's the ignorant part. And what is that ignorance? When you try to look into the ignorance, very specifically, very clearly, is the grasping mind, the clinging mind, the grasping mind. And that grasping mind built up its Tibetan word is denzin. Den means is true, like a true or real. And zin means like grasping to that. This is real. So, you have the notion in your mind, this appearance is real, is a unitary. I see this video camera, it's a video, that's it. There's nothing more to say, nothing less. But then when you really investigate, is there a real video camera? Then you do not find a real video camera. It's based on parts, parts based on whole, and whole based on parts. The whole thing is based on parts. Part is based on whole. So they're like one coin with two sides. So then when you really look, you can't have anything whole without parts, like our own body. We have like 5 limbs, 2 legs and 2 arms and a head makes it like 5 parts. As a whole, we call one unitary body, and we think there is one real entity as a unitary me. Meanness, I, me. But when you really look, where is that self or I? Then if you cut your 5 limbs, put it on different places, no one would say, or like, that's a body of John. Suddenly, I see like leg, I see like hand, different parts. We would never label John, for example. We would just call that hand or leg or head or something like that. Now the whole thing changed. And then when we finally dissect furthermore, then it comes to an atom. And so the whole labeling keeps changing because there wasn't, to begin with, as what we saw something real that we have labeled and we saw as one unitary, independent nature. Finally, we come to see there is no one unitary, independent nature. It's because of the many factors which came, that's how we label something. But when you, now the question here, why this is important for us to see, does ego exist or not? Our basic mindset, where we are seeking happiness and avoiding suffering, instead of happiness coming, we experience a lot of challenges. We experience a lot of pain, the opposite of happiness. And so what is causing this? That's the point. The point is seeing as one thing unitary, then that's where aggression is built up. That's where all the afflictions come, because not seeing is fluid nature. Fluidity. There's a nature of, as when there's a mind is basically utterly open in its essence. When we miss seeing the utter openness, we engage ourselves towards seeing as an independent, unitary one. That's where the problem comes. Why? Why that problem comes? Because there's no such thing which can hold itself. There's nothing which can hold itself. In any things and events, emotions or thoughts, imagination, nothing can last. Why it doesn't last? You should ask that question. Because there's no quality or there's no mind that it can hold on to that. Even we try to grasp, even we try to cling, even we try to make it real, but we say, oh, nothing lasts. Why it doesn't last? Why our good, let's say, good emotion, your feeling of love, your feeling of caring, your feeling, why they don't last? As well as negative things, they also change. We say, oh, that person changed. A bad person changed to good person changed to bad, or morning you are angry, afternoon you forgive. What is that is not holding there? What is that? What's in our mind? Why is not holding it? You know, that person did a terrible thing, I can't forgive. But then after some time, something happened, then, okay, give me a hug. And then later again something happens, I can't forgive you. So you see, we're shifting all the time in this kind of emotions and thought. Now, what is it? The point question here is, what is it that is not holding? Because there's no such thing which can hold. And that's what ego is trying to do. The role of the ego is holding and make you believe it's there. Even in essence, since there is no such thing as ego, it cannot hold. And there are many examples. We should do a study on this. For example, let's say daytime. Daytime, our 5 faculties. The faculties of eyes, faculties of ear, eyes, 5 sensorial. In other words, 5 sensorial which sees things, hear things, smell things, tasting, and sensation. Eye see, ear hears, nose smell, tongue tastes, body sensation, and then mind basically grasps. Those are real, my daytime sensorial. Now, in other words, your daytime experience. Now, and we think, oh, this is real, this is my experience. And we think, and there's the sense of self, ego again here. The one who dominates everything. We think there's an entity which dominates, which experiences my life experience. So then, if this is real, if your sensorial experience is real, what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you all the sensorial thing, if this is real, then when you go to sleep now, when you go to sleep, all the sensorials there's no function. 5 sensorial has no function during when you go to sleep. You go to a state of deep, now you can say, a subtle level of consciousness. And when you go to a subtle level, this phenomena that you have identity is all shut. Where is the ego? If ego is so real, it should be there too. If the ego is really real, an entity, permanent, unitary entity, you should not miss that. It should be there. It's gone. And then you go through a state of dream state. And then that is real. Now again, the ego, this is my real experience. And then when you get up, wake up, that is gone too. Now you no longer can hold on to it. There's no, that ego, it shows how simply an experience, how we, grasp, but no matter how much you grasp with your five sensorial, no matter how much you try to grasp and study and philosophize your dream, in essence, it cannot stand. When you're dreaming, which you feel my dream, my sense of self, ego, that whole thing is, the world is changed when you wake up. And the waking up thing which you feel so real, when you go to sleep, it has changed. Again, not there. So now where is the self-ego? The dominant ego which we experience, where is that? Furthermore, when we look at the mind nature, the definition of mind is called, the Tibetan word is Saljing Rigpa. Sal means clarity. Rigpa means knowing. That's the mind's quality. Whether we call it unique quality or quality, is the mind's quality, because that's what makes animate and inanimate. Animate is with the consciousness, right? Animate. Inanimate, like a boulder, stone, water, which is no consciousness. What is the definition of mind? Subtle means clear, clarity, knowing. That's the basic characteristic of the mind. Now, when you look at the nature of basic characteristic of the mind, of course, all thoughts, emotion, pattern, imprints of our thoughts, subtle or gross, whatever, all comes from the clarity. Even the wrong notion of ego also comes from the clarity aspect of the mind. Compassion comes from the clarity aspect of the mind. So if you kind of look at the mind, there's two facets to the mind. One is like the space, and one is the expression. Mind has an expression. That expression is the clarity part of the mind. Which holds sort of like, for example, this room can hold X number of people. It's the space. And X number of people in this room functioning, manifesting, is the clarity aspect, for example. The space and the clarity, they're indivisible. They're not like two different entities, but they're indivisible. So just example, like the room, the space, which can provide to hold this many people, and then the people in this, whether they're dancing or whether they're sitting or whether they're moving, whatever, the people are the clarity aspect. So basically, the mind nature, since it's clarity, and all our thoughts and emotion, compassion or non-compassion, are coming out of the expression of the mind, which is clarity aspect of the mind. But in the essence of that mind, now the next stage, I would like to say clarity in clear light. Sometimes you need to define, what is the essence of the mind, and like, for example, essence of the mind is truly the mind, it is in its fundamental nature, called ultimate truth. then the mind which experience function but not the true essence is called relative truth. For example, a person who is caught up in jaundice, hepatitis, will see the snow mountain into yellow. That's the part of the quality of when you have a jaundice. Instead of seeing white snow, people see yellow snow. Now, is that the correct? If you make 99% of the world say snow is white, no one says snow is yellow. But for that person, it's very real. They see the snow into yellow. Person who is caught up in jaundice see that, but the rest of the world will negate that, will contradict that. No, snow cannot be yellow. Snow is white, and that's the truth. So therefore, when we talk about clarity in clear light, we need to define once the essence of the mind, and clarity including our compassion, including our caught up mind, messed up mind, they coming from dualistic mindset. Dualistic itself is expression of a clarity. Getting out of that as we begin to see step by step, for example, when you do meditation, when you first come in meditation, you have a lot of things in your mind. Then after like months, weeks, months, year, you begin to change. You begin to get more rest. You begin to handle things much easier. Before which things you can't handle, now you can work it out easy instead of, killing someone. Before you may want to kill someone, now at least, you want to kill in your mind, but not physically. Or then later, it changes. That's all coming from the clarity part of the mind. Including the ego is part of the clarity part of the mind. So one needs to define clear light and clarity. Now let's look at the connection between clear light and clarity. Since clarity includes good and bad, just, of course, I'm not going to name one or there's no end to one, but just simply, clarity includes good and bad, confuse or not confuse. And clear light is talking about its basic fundamental quality. Now, for example, when you have anger, then you need to look at it from the clarity. That's the domain of clarity, mind's basic function, mind's basic nature. When you look at the clarity of the mind, which in this case, for example, the anger, and no matter how strong the anger, for example, if you were standing next to your mother, traditionally, mother is used as very big example in Buddhist teaching. That's how to transformation, mother become very powerful. Your friends, you think, okay, yeah, this, but mother, then, it takes a serious thing. So then, let's say you're standing next to your mother and you get very angry for some reason. And then suddenly, you realize, this is you remember some events in your life, and that she's been loving and caring, and or you begin to think, my mother held me inside her for 9 months, and all the pain she endured for me, and everything she went for me, that suddenly your anger disappears. So there is an antidote for that affliction, you can see. But just simply seeing that there's an antidote for that aggression, you can remove that affliction, right? That aggression, the anger, you can remove when you begin to experience her kindness, her love and caring. When you think about that, then that affliction, that negativity you feel, goes away. There's an antidote for that. But there is no antidote as far as mind's simply aware quality that you can never get rid of. There's antidote for affliction, all kinds of affliction, from ego to anger to jealousy to name it. There's always an antidote to that. But just simply the mind awareness is quality of aware. There's nothing can stop that. That's where the clear lights come. And so and it shows that since there's an antidote for all affliction, including seeing there's no such thing as ego, it can free us from that ignorance of ego or self-centeredness or whatever. But as far as the awareness is concerned, it's always simply open. Its quality is simply, utterly open. That's why when we read the Heart Sutra, Tayatha gate gate para sam gate bodhiso means gone beyond, utterly gone beyond. This like ultimate essence is like completely open, completely thing without any stains of affliction and ignorance. That's where one is to reach. And it's all, the whole thing is in our mind. Gone beyond. Usually the gone beyond, utterly gone beyond is based on the 5 paths. 5 paths is linked directly. Of course, the whole teaching is within our mind in Buddhism. Since it's not, Buddhism doesn't have, like some external creator. The whole thing is yourself. Your own mind creates your confusion. How the mind can remove that affliction. Then you can see, yes, mind has the antidote to remove. Therefore, liberation is possible. You begin to get that confidence in yourself. Yes, I can remove that ignorance. I can remove that affliction. Then you gain confidence. And that's where deeper and deeper you get, And then there's a deep sense of utter openness. And then you begin to see how genuine the Dharma is. Because you directly have experienced. And not only you've experienced the removal of affliction, the antidote, but you also remove its basic quality. Now what it says in the Dzogchen, then as teaching goes deeper and deeper and deeper, it means as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, teaching is like a reflection of you. And as you go deeper and deeper and deeper to that awareness, clear light, what do you do now? Should I jump? Should I put my head on the floor and my legs up in the sky? It's up to you. If you want to do that, fine, go ahead. You don't have to do anything. When you see the clear light, make the mind rest in its fundamental nature. Now you saw how it can remove the afflictions and ignorance and obscuration, which is the source of this trap, cocoon that we experience. Once you remain in that, it purifies all those obscuration. So traditionally in the Dzogchen teachings, it explained, when you truly realize your awareness, if there's an ant walking from here and reaches here, you can purify eons, not like eons of negative obscuration. That's powerful, that awareness is. Because that awareness is that awareness is non-dual awareness. That awareness, then again, talk about that awareness is another whole level. Then Heart Sutra doesn't talk about that. Heart Sutra only mentions something. Then is like very Dzogchen teaching of two stages of Dzogchen teaching. One is called Chhoje and one is called Tögel. Chhoje just teaches about the presence of that clear light, presence of that. And Tögel teaches about spontaneously accomplish. So in other words, it's just not, so we may think that, you see, this is how our mind works. So okay, now got rid of affliction, so there's nothing. Yes, there's no affliction, that's true. There's no ignorance, that's true. There's no craziness and messed up, that's true. But does that make the awareness totally empty, no attributes, no quality? That's not the case. Why you experience this? This attribute. This is also attributes. How come you attribute this floor and this ceiling in your body, in your thoughts, in your life situation? What makes you to experience your attributes of this? It's not nothingness. So sometimes when people get wrong misconception about emptiness, they think, okay, now it's empty nothingness. That's nihilistic. In fact, in order to experience emptiness, it has to be subjective person. To experience, so there is something to experience. Let me just simply put it that way. Something to experience, awareness. It's not like, because there have been so much confusion about the belief of soul and mind. Buddhism doesn't believe in soul. That doesn't mean that Buddhism doesn't believe in nothing, and you become Buddha, you become Buddhist, and then you become like now nothing. Well, if there is no messed up experience, that's good. But that doesn't mean that, emptiness doesn't mean nothing. There is somebody to experience emptiness. Just think about that. Without talking much about attributes yet. Can you imagine this phenomena is expression of our own mental development, and it's like you seeing it in the mirror. Like when you see your dreams, you see many different places in your dream, in your little bedroom. You see sometimes 10 elephants if you're in a zoo. How can the elephant can fit in your bedroom, 10 elephants? But you see like your projection of your mind. So all those attributes, whether it's a dream attributes, whether it's a wake-up attributes, mine is not just nothingness. So right now, let's not go far that way, but let's just see the two aspects. Today I explain about clarity and clear light. Clarity, yes, you can handle all affliction with antidotes. Aggression has its antidote, attachment has its antidote, ignorance. Antidote for ignorance is interdependence. When you see interdependence, it removes the unitary self-independent existence, whatever that is. So that can be removed. But as far as the clear light itself is concerned, my own nature of awareness, how to be in that. When all those obscurations are removed, simply the awareness begin to so rich, just simply there. Neither it needs confirmation, nor it needs, it doesn't need, confirmation from anybody. You don't even need confirmation of historical Buddha himself when you realize your awareness. It's so clear. It's open, clear, and is a tremendous potential of, liberation. It is a quality of what is in the tradition called the five activities. Why? Because it's a clear light, clarity. You can also use the word clarity, which plays the role of what needs to be done is done. Where there's a peaceful compassion, where there's a magnetizing compassion, wisdom coming in the form of peacefulness, wisdom coming in the form of increasing, wisdom coming in the form of increasing, magnetizing, peaceful, or radical, whatever, it is unwavering from its fundamental ground, from the clear light. Without any, because once you see a clear light, you have removed all those afflictions. Once you have removed all the affliction, and no matter how much the affliction may come, because you saw its fundamental nature, they just like waves come and dissolve, no effect to that mind. That's something, when you do practice of meditation, then as you see your mind deeper and deeper, the kind of, traditionally it says the three kind of experience which will come in the sitting practice of meditation. Instead of, right now we experience busyness, we experience contradiction and many things. Now, as a result of your mind stabilizing to its ground, then you experience utter openness instead of like being panic. Utter openness, calmness. Because the mind is not it's not like chaos, so you experience bliss, tremendous bliss sitting in meditation. It's like you don't even want to move sometimes. It's like mind is so free and joy in nature. And sometimes so much clarity, intuition, your concentration, your intuition, your foreknowledge, and many things comes. Because now many obscuration, afflictions, and ignorance are thinning and removed, therefore those qualities come. It's part of the mind. Then finally, we have to reach the total conflict zone of duality, and seeing its essence, the clear light. Then one transcends from this cyclic existence. Otherwise, there's no possibility to get out of the cyclic existence. So something like that. And we can have question and answer afterwards. So let's do a sitting practice now. So please sit straight, relax your body. Meditation is very simple. When you do meditation, you're going straight to awareness now. You should know. You're not doing analytical study. You're going straight to awareness. And for that, you need to have your body straight and body relax, mind relax. So traditionally, let me repeat that, like when you sit on your zafutan or in your chair, you should think, my body is on the zafu. In my body is my mind. And my mind relaxed, like you drop it. Normally you'll be like busy doing this, going in the past, going in the future, all kinds of entertainment in your mind. Now you just simply be here and drop that. And then totally relax. And then go to the breathing. When you just be with the breath. Just be aware, meaning be aware of your breath. When you breathe out, when you breathe in, you're just simply being focused one-pointedly. Then of course, one cannot be one-pointedly with, the mind. We'll have some kind of thoughts will come. And when the thought, no matter what thought it is, you have to treat all thoughts equally in meditation. Whether it's compassionate thought or very negative thought. They're simply a thought. It makes no preference. If you try to make preference, then you will lose your ground. The point is, treat them equally. So you just then go back when the thoughts arise, oh, this is conceptual thought, whatever it is. And then you again go back to the breathing. And just be with the breath. Now then, if you the mistakes of meditation, if you feel sleepy and drowsy, you need to, shake that up and get alert. Because if you allow sleepiness and drowsiness, then your meditation is no point. Because that can make the mind more stupid, we call it bear meditation, like hibernation. It goes for like 3-6 months. So you don't want to be hibernating your mind. So you want to wake up. And then, like, for example, in your own home, you can open windows, wear lighter clothes. If you have the experience of drowsiness and sleepiness, if that's your main problem, you need to shake that up, like opening the windows, wearing lighter clothes, eating lighter foods, and whatever makes it for it to go away. So then again go back to simply the technique of with the breath. Now if there's too many thoughts come, sometimes you can't stop thoughts. Like too many thoughts come, you don't have to suppress the thought. You can't do that. If you try to suppress, then the next again you will suppress, then it can create mental craziness. There's a saying, meditation, not knowing how to do meditation, it can go crazy. People, that's dangerous also, because you don't know how to deal with the mind. Then you try to suppress and suppress and suppress. Then you get like hypertension, and at some point you will start going crazy and yelling and throwing things, and definitely not good. So if too many thoughts come, allow it to come. Just simply watch. Don't go after it, just allow it to come. And at some point it will subside by itself. It's like the ocean waves. No matter how high the waves come, if you allow it, it will just go back to its ocean. And then, makes no difference whether it's high waves or small wave. Same thing, there's a beautiful poem by Tibet's great yogi Milarepa, with a lady who asked question. She said, it's very comfortable. She said, it's wonderful to meditate on the sky, but difficult to meditate on the cloud. And then how do I deal with that? Then she said, it's wonderful to meditate on the ocean, but hard to meditate on the waves. Then she said, it's wonderful to meditate on the mountain, but difficult to meditate on flowers and plants and everything growing on the mountain. How to deal with that? Then Milarepa answered, if it's how to deal with the ocean and the wave, he said, don't go after the waves, just be the ocean itself. Don't go after the plants, just be the mountain itself. Don't go after the clouds, just be the space itself. That's how meaning you just, instead of suppressing or running after, allow it, and it will clear by itself. That's how mind is. Mind awareness is the quality in us. We never look into this. We just run, go after, like completely like scramble game, I like more like a fried egg, not too much scramble mixed with everything. So when we do mix with everything on it, it's become so scrambled. At some point you don't know what you're eating. So just joking. But it's like that. So you just remain, just remain with the breath. And at some point, don't worry even like being aware of the breath. The breath is just simply technique. If the mind just completely opens up itself, just remain in that. But it's hard at the beginning. You need some reference point, So the reference point is breath. So you just be with the breath and be alert, not sleepiness, and just completely, relax your body and mind completely, and just be with that. And then mind, that method will work with all your 84,000 passions. It's not something it will work for one or another. It will work for all your afflictions. Then as the time goes by, then you can see more stability, more openness, more joy, more clarity, intuition. All those qualities will naturally come from this meditation practice. In fact, in Tibet, there was a monastery where many young monks were introduced meditation. Normally, we don't teach for children because they are hard to understand meditation. But at a certain age, if the children learn meditation, I think it's very powerful. There was in Tibet a monastery where many young monks were taught. At some point, these monks developed so much confidence, they began to have foreknowledge, reading other people's mind. That happened in a monastery. And it was interesting, when I was in Bodh Gaya, from my monastery, I have 2-3 monks with me, and they've never done meditation. So when I was sitting at the Bodh Gaya next to where Buddha achieved enlightenment, I was doing meditation, and I took him with me, and I told him to meditate. I introduced him some meditation. Then afterwards, I asked him, what do you experience? He said, my suffering, pain goes less and feel very open. That was his first time when he did meditation. Normally, the point here is we don't look into our mind. We don't meditate. We don't sit. We never see how our mind is. Instead of running after this conceptual thought and habits all the time, that's why we never experience joy, happiness, openness. So if you need to experience enlightened mind, then you need to go towards enlightened mind. Otherwise, enlightened mind can never come to you. It's not going to come and knock your door saying, now can I enter? You need to enter within you, You got to do it. Mindfulness, your mindfulness. Okay, so then let's do a meditation now. It's good to open your mouth slightly to breathe. Though the main focus is the breath, but don't shut your mouth. Just slightly open so the wind can go in and out. This has got a very deeper effect, how the mind stabilize. Actually, in the higher meditation teaching, explain the mouth to be slightly open. Don't think about the mouth again, just that's it. And then just go back to the breathing, be aware of your breath and just focus to that. And then when you suddenly realize sometimes that you've been distracted, just recognize the distraction. That's it. You don't have to say, oh, this is bad. I lost my, awareness and the guilt. No need. Just on the spot, cut through it. No more gossip. Just so that you're distracted, go back to meditation. Relax completely your mind, your body, totally relax and be with your awareness. Meaning just focus to the breath and be with the breath. Not in a penetrative, hard, heavy-handedness, but in a just open and relax. Just as you deal with your thoughts and emotion, just letting it be in its natural state. Same thing when you hear sound, smell, taste. Also, just when you hear the sound, just don't judge the sound. Just simply recognize the sound. Recognizing sound is awareness. You're not trying to be, deaf or subdued. You hear it, but then allow it, in its natural state. It will liberate by itself. Whether sound, smell, taste, the same method, just simply be with the awareness. Try to leave your mind in its own nature. Meaning, when you have suddenly a thought, you may be entertaining your thoughts. Moment you recognize through your mindfulness, then just allow the mind to rest. Like the ocean waves, it will just go back into the ocean. It will clear by itself. Simply recognize your thoughts when they arise. Don't feel the guilt that you've been distracted. By simply recognizing, it will dissolve. So here we can have a question answer period if you have any questions. Shall we talk about ego? Ego is waiting to talk. So please think about today we discuss clarity, clear light. You need to, as you keep sitting, answer will come to you from your sitting practice meditation. But also it's good to introspect what I said about the clarity aspect can deal with our conflict of our mind, such as, for example, the remedy for aggression, how that can be removed. But there is no antidote as far as the awareness itself is concerned. Nothing can stop the awareness, the aware quality of the mind. So mind is very deep. Actually, the wake-up state, growth state of mind, then our dream state, then our imagination, then the daydreaming, many different levels how we go through. And when you do this sitting practice, you're going to understand the whole thing, as time goes by, get more and more and more clear about your mind. Any questions? Yes?
I don't really know how to answer the question. Thank you. Oh, okay. With the clear light, do you ever feel like you disappear?
Clearly disappear?
When you're experiencing the clear light, it's like I disappear.
Yes, your ego can disappear, right? Because all affliction, the entity that you see something real, there's the biggest obstruction for the utter openness, for liberation. So that part, the ignorance will disappear but as far as the clear light, the awareness, the awakened mind, there's no disappearing to that. Because if that disappears, then minds become nothingness. Mind cannot become nothingness. Mind always have awareness. So clear light is the ultimate awareness. So what you experience on the path, on the road, emotions changing. Emotions changing is not clear light. Clear light is the absolute level of reality of your mind. But on the way your emotion change, you're dealing with emotion, you're working with emotion, there comes, you get a healing aspect, forgiveness, all those things. That's not clear light mind. Clear light mind is non-dual mind, is unconditioned mind. And how do you get to unconditioned mind? Through condition or through unconditioned? Condition will create condition. Condition cannot create unconditioned. In order to get to unconditioned mind, you have to know what is unconditioned mind. And through that unconditioned mind, you can get to the clear light. So first step is Shamatha Meditation. Calm, abiding mind. There's still condition. It's not non-dual mind. The Shamatha is very precision. Those who develop Shamatha meditation, they're very powerful concentration. No matter what are you, if you are an artist, amazing artistic quality will come. Those who are studying, very strong sense of memory, because there is no obstacle to that mind. is one pointed mind. And those who are doing sitting practice, you get to the calm abiding state. So it's mind without any obstacle. That's what one pointedness. So therefore, minds become very clairvoyant, very intuitive, and clarity. So those experiences come from shamatha. But as you go more and more, now, already shamatha is teaching you go towards non-dual. It's not totally non-dual. Teaching how? He said, don't judge. Don't judge good and bad thoughts. Don't take sides on thoughts. So when you don't take sides, you are less conditioning yourself, right? If you take sides, you are conditioning more. Now why? It's even you do less, it may still be a little condition at the beginning because you are trying to make an effort, contrive. So there's still the subtle mind, subtle habit mind, contrive. That's the only way, because your mind is so used to contrive, that's the only way you have to go through that right now. As you keep going with the contrive, not too much contrive. Ego and our basic emotion is very contrive. So as you begin to have lesser contrive, you begin to feel more space, more clarity, more focus. And even if you focus, but you're less trapped. Right now, every little thing is like an issue in your mind. Anything pops up, it's become an issue. You see your neighbor's house, oh, that's not a good color. Why is, I don't understand, it's crazy they like that color. For example, you see everything become an issue. Then you may see, yes, it's a color I don't like, but then next moment you are free. Instead of, getting too neurotic. So then as time goes by, through the method of your awareness, what we call clear light, or what we call primordial awareness, the mind's basic quality. One thing I said today, the ego cannot hold itself. No matter how much it tries to grasp, but it cannot hold itself because it doesn't exist. It's utterly open. It's open of taking sides. If it can really hold itself, then it can be absolute holding, no change. Because that's not the case, it cannot hold. In fact, second instant, it will dissolve. But that's not good enough. The true liberation has to be on the first instant. Second instant, everybody's mind change, even cats and dogs and bugs, their mind change too. True liberation has to, at the fundamental level, what we use the word primordial, thought arise and the affliction arise. Affliction loses ground at the very first instant. That's come through meditation practice. That's where the awakened mind, enlightened mind can only happen through that, a lot of practice. But for second instant, everyone will have a change. First instant, second instant. That's common to all being, all person. You will have change from the second, but that doesn't do good. So what we're learning through meditation, we're learning get to the first instant, unconditioned awareness. As you keep going, you're not making contrive, you're not doing anything. You're getting to its fundamental quality of the awareness that we have missed. The ignorant, how did we miss? Because we grasp, seeing everything as real entity, my enemy, my friend, aversion, attachment, everything so strong, and then you get wrapped up into that. As a result, too much suffering and all this confusion arise. No liberation at all. In fact, so many strange phenomena, nighttime dream phenomena, daytime phenomena, these changes of life, nobody knows what's going to happen. So when you learn how not to take sides, meaning it's not that you are making, right now looks like a contrived effort, okay, this is a good thought, I'm not going to go after. This is a bad thought, I'm not going to, go after. I'm going to treat them both equal. Still a little contrived there, because mental, dualistic mental is happening at that time. But as you just keep meditating, at some point the dualistic game which plays that grasping the ignorance will fall apart. When that fall apart, then true awakening happens. So you can imagine if a little neurotic mind can make major things, quite phenomena of good or bad, what can an awakened mind can make? 1,000 times more powerful, 1,000,000 times more powerful. So it's basically mental obscuration, where meditation becomes so important. That's the only way you're going to enter your mind, you're going to see your mind. Without meditation, we live in darkness, truly. We have no way of discovering ourselves. So please meditate. When you get up in the morning, watch your mind. When you go to eat, watch your mind. When you're talking, like we call shock therapy. We need to give sometimes shock therapy to the mind. Like you get so angry, then suddenly you bring your awareness. It will shatter the whole anger. In fact, you may have a fear of losing anger. Oh, how am I going to handle? My enemy will think I'm weak now. But it's okay. Really, you need to give like a shock to them. Just by seeing that, if that can destroy, shake the ground of aggression, that's very powerful. Very powerful. So you need to do that. When you get very angry, you should look. When you get a lot of attachment, you should look at your mind. When you get jealous, you should look at your mind. When you're simply walking, you should look at your mind. In that way, you come to really understand your mind, and it will open up. The whole point, finally, is removal of ignorance, removal of affliction and obscuration. Then true happiness and liberation can happen. As we can see, yes, no matter how much in reality when we look, investigate, it may try to hold on to, it cannot hold on to. And it just simply isn't there. We just got carried away into a habit. Okay, next.
Rinpoche?
Yes?
Alina says, thank you very much, Rinpoche, for insightful teaching. How can we recognize when our mind starts to grasp the meditative experience of clarity?
How can we say that again, please?
How can we recognize when the mind starts to grasp the meditative experience of clarity?
Yeah, that, it says at the beginning, meditation experienced like a waterfall, a lot of noise. So we're gonna, we will, when, say that question one more time, Jim. How can we recognize?
How can we recognize when our mind starts to grasp the meditation experience of clarity?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's a very subtle question, also subtle question. The reason I'm saying subtle, in meditation, there are let me just put two parts. One is called experience. For example, experience of awareness, experience and realization. Realization and experience. One can mistake those two. At the beginning, there will be experience. For example, experience of, from our ordinary experience of like, where we feel a lot of emotions and, thoughts and conceptuals and everything that we know. Then after some time meditation, maybe after, whatever the period, everyone is different, then you can experience like total openness and calmness and clarity. Then you think, oh, now this is clear light. But it's not. That's simply an experience. An experience is such that it's not some kind of mental, you may, for example, you can imagine something and we can say the experience. Experiences physically come. For example, through meditation, sometimes you can have bliss. Certain experience, each one is different. Bliss for like 6 months. Can you imagine 6 months or 1 year or 2 years? Like total bliss all the time in body. Or like in clairvoyance in the mind. But after 1 year or 2 years, it can disappear. For example, those experience, not realization. So experience of clarity, experience of some emptiness part, experience of calmness, calm abiding, and one is clinging. So the question is, how can we recognize one is clinging or not, right? That's the question. One is a teacher, that's why. Really. This is meditation. When you work with the meditation without a teacher is dangerous. Because the teacher and you work together, what stages you are, how you're going. Traditionally, when meditation teaching is given in Tibet, after 1 week, one changes the teaching. For 1 week, the teachers, you meditate this way. Then there was, for 5 minutes teaching. Then you go in the mountains, wherever, in your house. Then you meditate. Then after 1 week, you go back and then you give a test. And the teacher sees whether it's time to change or not. At where your mind is reached. So this is how traditionally one is done. And I think meditation practice needs to be done that way with the teacher, because it's a question of mind. And if you don't have a teacher, you cannot guide yourself with a book. You cannot guide meditation with a book. So therefore it's good to have the teacher to talk to and tell you experience. Otherwise you may not know it's an experience or it's a realization. One will know at some, even experience, a very powerful experience. Like for example, you begin to read the minds of 30 people or 40 people in the room. That's not a small thing. But it's still an experience. So, sometimes the teacher would say, one get very proud, okay, I have this amazing experience. And I remember one time in Nepal with Chhoje Rinpoche, the great master, very great master. So there was a lady from California, Annapurna. So she asked me to, Rinpoche, can you translate for me to Chhoje Rinpoche? And I said, of course. So we went to Chhoje Rinpoche. And then she said, Rinpoche, I have this experience of bindus, like thickness, when I sit and meditate, which according to Dzogchen teaching, like a spear, Of course, all those your inner should be connected with your inner experience. But sometimes one can, when you do a long-time meditation, you can see like round ones. Basically what it means, round symbolizes total harmony, expression of emptiness. means like absence of all afflictions and ignorance. So as a physical experience, one can see those things as part of the meditation experience. But one should have the inner experience too. So sometimes some students make a big issue, oh, I've gained so high state, and the teacher has to cut through your ego. That can be also ego trip. So when she said, Rinpoche, I have this experience, and I told Sharal Rinpoche, she says she has this experience coming. And Rinpoche's answer was, it's better not to have those things. Cut through her ego right on the spot. She thinks she's going to get some pet, oh, great. It's better not to have those experiences. So one needs, you see, this is how teacher-student work, sometimes in this way. And then there was another Tibetan, aristocrat. He was a practitioner, So some kind of revelation came in his mind. And then Sharal Rinpoche is a very great meditation master. Rinpoche died. He lived 102 years old, teacher of Chris Monson. So, one of the greatest Nyingma master. So this guy said, Rinpoche, I have this revelation in my mind, this text. So, if you think it's good, I'm going to publish and distribute for everyone to read. What do you think? And Rinpoche read the text. He said, he's a Nyingma Lama too. He said, we Nyingmapas are not that desperate yet. It's better to burn it, he said. And of course he's got respect to Rinpoche. So you see, sometimes it has to be cut through in that way. So all mental gossip, affliction gossip has to be cut through. Because one may not know, one may really believe this is something, but actually is not. So therefore, in Tibet there's this great tradition, amazing great masters, and like that. So, but the point is, when we will know when we grasp. You see, subtle grasping one will not know. Let me put it that way. Gross grasping one will know. When we have gross thoughts, gross emotion, when you're grasping, you will know. But very subtle, called subtle subconscious gossip. It is said is the thief of meditation. That's the thief of meditation. For example, you're doing meditation, and it's calm, and suddenly you get lost in some kind of subtle dreaming, subconscious gossip. That you need to recognize, that's the thief of meditation. Then at some point you will completely get under that influence of that. So therefore, way to cut that. So for example, when one is meditation, it doesn't go away, then you should say, sharp and short, not like pay. That's not going to do. It's like put, and then drop it. You don't want to check what happens after pet. Okay, that will not work. So the put, and then just like that. That will cut through the clinging. That word, pa and ta, is the union of wisdom and skillful mean word. Pat is. So it's the cutting through of conceptual. So if you have certain emotions, sometimes very difficulty, doesn't get out of your mind, you feel, then you should use that. Pat. Yeah. Okay. That's it? Any questions? Okay. So now we have today, thank you all. I'm so happy seeing all of you. We have opened the center. The world is, I hope, on the healing stage now, day by day, get better and better. And then this Sunday, we will have the center open, and every Thursday. So please come and sit. We all have this beautiful environment with tremendous blessing energy here. So please come and meditate on Thursday and Sundays. And then this year we have two wonderful teachers, Brendan and Chris. Really amazing. Brendan has done so many years of meditation. And then Chris has tremendous experience. Her teacher, Rinpoche, and also she's a scholar. So this year I asked her to teach. We discuss on the Longchenpa's teaching on awareness. Very profound teaching. It's a long text. It will go for either she's going to teach once a week or for few months, I think. It's a very profound subject. I would encourage all of you to please take that course. And of course, Brendan, he's teaching on meditation, a wonderful teacher, meditation master. I try to bring the best for all of you, genuine teachers who can really help you. I'm so fortunate. My teachers, Soksir Rinpoche and his son Dujum Rinpoche, I was blessed with amazing teachers. Let me put it this way. All my teachers were truly enlightened one, fully enlightened master. I'm the only one which is not enlightened. But I got like the dust. I'm like a dust on their feet. So a little bit of dust can still help all of you, So, but really, my masters were all truly enlightened masters. So, therefore, it's our karma. We all meet due to our karma from previous life. Nothing happens without cause. We met, and so we met in this beautiful karmic connection where we all share wisdom and compassion and to grow. And there's nothing greater connection than that can be in this world. So thank you all for, when I give the teaching, I give it from my heart. And you all inspire me to do that and prepare for that. So I also thank you all for giving me an opportunity like that. Thank you. Let's do a world peace prayer. Everyone has the text, or you don't need? In the world in general, and in this nation, may not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general, and in this nation, may not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general, and in this nation, may not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. By this merit, may all beings gain omniscience, thus defeat the neuroses, which are the enemies, waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Means be liberated. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Okay.
Rinpoche, do you want to tell people about Sok tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow we are doing a Sok celebration of Padmasambhava's day. So you are welcome to come. And it's a Sok feast offering and receiving blessing of Padmasambhava. So if you are free, please come. Tomorrow 6 o'clock in the evening. And Drukpa Yungzi Rinpoche is going to come here. I requested him, he kindly accepted to come here tomorrow. And we will all do a talk. So please come. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I'm still around in America. I'm stuck, you know. And I'm happy, you know. You know, you're all in my heart. So really, I'm happy. I have no complaint. I need to go back to India, but I can't. Now it's so bad situation there. It's horrible what's going on there. People go to hospital, they get a bed, no oxygen. They're dying. And then the relatives get angry, they want to beat the doctors. So there was one hospital got only 2 hours left of oxygen. And there were a number of patients. And the doctors knew after 2 hours the oxygen will run out. And they ran away. All doctors, they ran away because they can be beaten and killed by relatives. So when after a few hours when they came back, they were all dead. There's so many cases like this. Bodies cremated on parking lots, on sidewalks. So very sad situation. And now it's getting better now, you know, slowly. But it was, you see, we need to use logic. I think it's very important. That's the beautiful thing in Buddhism. Logic is always used, you know, all the way to the last part, clear light part, you know, when to use, how much the logic can do, and at one point logic, you know, it goes beyond. So important to use science and logic. I think there was this Hindu festival called Kumbh Mela. People 20 million people took the dip, I guess at the same time. You know, just even 100,000 people will be a lot to take. Can you imagine 20 million people all squeeze? And so it's become a super spreader. I think the early variant was not so strong, and the second variant was like very strong. So it caught them off guard, so to speak. And they were not prepared, you know, whether in medicine and oxygen. And so it was, I think, unbelievable. The structure of family dynamic have changed so much in every family. Father died, mother died, or son died and mother died, the father is left alone. Or so many tragedy happened. So please pray in your heart. Please pray for the world peace. And you know, I do that when I pray to Tara, you know. It's so powerful when I pray to Tara. It makes me takes to the whole world. Every being is suffering, how they can be all free of that. Her blessing is very powerful, Tara practice. Or just simply meditate and just feel, you know, in your own way how you can bring compassion, you know. So we, you know, whether in America, whether in Europe, whether in Africa, whether in India, everywhere beings are, they all want happiness, nobody wants suffering. And this is very hard, very hard. And then there are scrupulous people, you know. For example, some of them people I heard in hospital, there's no bed. And then some people lying in the bed, those who are not sick, in Carnarvon, some corrupted doctors. And then serious patient come, they say, yeah, I can give you my bed, give me $10,000, you know, dollars or whatever, a few $1,000 like that. And selling fake medicine. And selling one bottle of oxygen, which normally costs like $20, $30, for like $1,000. So all this, you know, and of course there are a lot of genuine people, a lot of people helping. It's a big country, 1.3 billion people. So yes, we can imagine something, all kinds of things will happen. But this has been a tough time for many people. So please include all people in your prayers every day. It'll be good for you also, for your own practice of compassion, and for good for them. right? So thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.